traitor's blood. You dare show your face in this core?
I'll prove them wrong. Father was innocent. Every bruise is a step closer to the truth.
15 years ago, Colonel Masaru was executed as the worst traitor in Corps history. His son, Kazuki, has borne that shame every day since.
I enlisted to clear your name. I won't stop until the truth is out.
Everyone here lost family because of your father. Think you can scrub that stain off just by enlisting?
The Corps never let him forget. Every hallway, every meal, every training drill was a trial by fire.
Endure it. Each insult proves I am getting closer. They can't break me.
Veteran Naomi, who once served under Masaru, watched the recruit silently. She saw something in his eyes, a fire that shouldn't exist. He kept a worn photograph hidden beneath his uniform. The only proof he had that his father was once a good man. The path ahead was paved with hatred. Yet every night, a pair of eyes followed him, waiting for the right moment. At the records office, the clerk denied him with a sneer. Recruits had no clearance, and the name Masaru was poison.
Trying to dig up your daddy's crimes, traitor's spawn. The archives are for real soldiers, not filth.
They're scared. They know I might find something.
Sector 4 stairs. After lights out. Don't let anyone see you.
Someone finally believes. Or is this a trap?
The key card was old, scratched, but functional. He hid it in his boot. A chance. Finally, that night, he slipped past the sleeping barracks and into the dark corridor. The silence pressed like a held breath.
This is it. Behind that door, the truth.
The records room was a tomb of old secrets. Some doors, once opened, can never be shut. Naomi watched him vanish into the archive, knowing she had lit a fuse that could burn everything down. Inside the dusty archive, Kazuki's flashlight cut through decades of silence. The files on Colonel Masaru were buried, but not destroyed.
Father's file, heavily redacted. What else did they try to erase?
He found the confession, signed and dated. But the date froze him, 4 days after the execution.
He was already dead when this was written. This confession is a lie, a forgery.
He copied the page with trembling hands and slipped out before dawn. He needed Naomi.
You found something. Your hands are trembling. What is it?
The confession. Look at the date. He was executed 4 days earlier. Someone forged this.
I knew it. I served under him. He was no traitor. This proves they killed him for something else.
Naomi traced the scar on her cheek, a wound from the same doomed expedition. The men who framed Masaru still wore the uniform.
Then we find them. This forgery is the first crack. I won't stop until his name is clean.
Naomi retrieved the evidence box from the old quartermaster. Intercepted letters used to condemn Masaru.
Look, different ink, mismatched handwriting. The paper is newer than the envelope. These were planted.
The entire case was fabricated. Not just the confession. Everything. They wanted him dead before he could speak.
Commander Isao studied the report. Someone was digging into the Masaru files. He gave a single order.
Assign a watchdog. The traitor's son is poking into old graves. I want everything he touches.
Kazuki felt the weight before he saw the shadow. A military policeman followed at a fixed distance.
They're on to us. Command knows we're pulling threads.
They'll try to bury us next. We need to move faster. Find the real motive before they silence us both.
Then we give them no time. There has to be more, a reason big enough to kill for.
They spread the forged letters across the table. The lies were plain, but the real secret still hid behind them. In a cramped apartment, the old quartermaster trembled as he confessed he was ordered to plant the letters.
He doesn't know who, just followed orders from someone high up, a blank check of authority.
So, they used layers of cutouts. The real culprit is buried deep. We need a name.
That night, in his childhood home, Kazuki pressed a loose brick and found his father's hidden note, Chimera. They are turning soldiers into... I have to expose it before they silence me forever.
Chimera. Father was onto something monstrous. No wonder they destroyed him.
That name is classified. I've heard whispers. A black project tied to human experimentation.
Maybe a rival officer with a personal grudge fabricated everything and used this chimera as bait.
A grudge doesn't bury a secret this deep. Chimera is real and bigger than personal revenge.
The note proved his father was silenced for a truth too dangerous to name. The hunt was just beginning. In the dead of night, Kazuki typed Chimera into the core terminal. The screen flashed red.
They knew I'd try. This whole search was a silent alarm.
MPs burst in and dragged him out. By morning, stolen supplies were found in his bunk.
The charge is theft and espionage. Make it stick. The son of a traitor deserves no mercy.
Under a blinding lamp, they demanded a confession. He had none to give.
You forged my father's confession. I won't give you another lie.
Isao slammed his fist when he heard the defiance. They would need stronger methods, but the lock clicked open from the outside. Naomi slipped in, pulling a frightened veteran.
This man was with Masaru's unit. He's been hiding for 15 years. He'll only talk somewhere safe. But he knows the truth about Chimera.
In a safe house, the old veteran finally spoke. His voice was thin, rusted by 15 years of silence. He recounted Masaru's horror, a hidden laboratory. Humans and tanks injected with serum. They were being made into something inhuman.
Turning soldiers into weapons. Father didn't betray anyone. He tried to stop this.
Then the veteran handed over a tattered envelope. A coded document Masaru had copied before his capture.
I've tried to decode this for years. I was Masaru's intelligence officer. Clearing his name has been my mission.
She spread the page. Ciphers, diagrams, and a single legible word circled in red. Conversion.
You've been fighting alone all this time. I'll finish what my father started.
The veteran gripped Kazuki's arm with surprising strength. His eyes said what his voice could not. They will kill you for this.
Then let them try. This evidence is worth dying for.
The coded page held the shape of a nightmare, but its full meaning still hid in the ciphers.
The cipher breaks here, subjects. Serum. Conversion chamber. They're transforming people, Kazuki, into titans.
That's why they killed him. He wasn't a traitor. He was about to expose a crime against humanity.
We need the full file. The location of the lab. Proof solid enough to break their grip.
He's no longer a nuisance. He's a threat. Find him. End this before dawn.
They never made it to the next safe house. Shadows closed in a narrow alley. Naomi's blade flashed first. A soldier crumpled. Kazuki grabbed a pipe and swung. Survival pure and instinctive.
Through the grate. Now.
They plunged into the sewer. The sounds of boots fading above. Battered, bleeding, but alive.
They'll never stop. The only way out is to finish this. Find the lab, publish everything.
Above, Isao's men scoured the streets. The hunt had become a war, and the secret still loomed ahead. In a cramped, safe house, they laid out every document they had stolen, copied, and bled for. The proof of innocence was irrefutable.
The forged confession, the planted letters, the date discrepancy. I can clear his name right now. The treason charge is a lie.
But who gave the order? General Kanda despised your father publicly. He had the means and the ambition.
Kanda's name appeared in old intelligence briefs. A bitter rival who could have designed the entire frame-up.
Finally, a face to the hatred. If Kanda did this, I'll prove it.
Wait. I found an older list. Kanda is on it, but not as a suspect. He's marked silenced.
Silenced Kanda wasn't the mastermind. He was another victim of the same secret.
The personal vendetta theory crumbled. Someone had killed rivals and truth seekers alike to protect something deeper.
This isn't personal hatred. It's institutional. Someone at the top is guarding a secret big enough to erase everyone who knows.
They could clear the treason charge, but the real enemy wore no single face. It was buried in the core's darkest vault. Driven by frustration, Kazuki slipped into the commander's office at night. evidence in hand.
Commander Isao, you know why I am here.
He placed the forged confession on the desk. The false date glared under the lamp.
So you've uncovered the fabrication, but what your father found must stay buried. Walk away. Give me the files. I'll clear his name publicly. The shame on your family ends. That's my final offer.
Clear his name, but bury the reason he died. That's not justice. It's a bribe. Number. I won't trade his sacrifice for a convenient lie.
Then you've sentenced yourself to death. This secret is worth more than your life.
Copies are already with the press. Kill me, and the truth explodes anyway.
He left the commander's office, a hunted man. But the fuse was lit. Isao's keycard, lifted during the confrontation, unlocked the high-security archive. Their last chance.
Somewhere in here is the truth that got my father killed. Find it.
The file. Project Chimera. Titan Conversion Program. A cover page stamped with Isao's authority.
They used prisoners, soldiers. The program turned their own men into Titans.
Look, the diagram. Conversion chamber. This is how they made weapons out of humans.
Pages of medical records. Injections, surgeries, failures. A factory of monsters.
Isao's signature. He didn't just cover it up. He created it. Your father died to stop this.
Father knew exactly what they were doing. That's why they couldn't let him live.
They copied every page, hands trembling. Evidence of a crime beyond treason. As they fled, alarms shattered the silence. The core would burn itself to bury this. Gunfire cut through the dark corridor. Naomi shoved him toward the service hatch. Hard.
Go. I'll hold them. The files are all that matter now.
He saw her tackled, hands wrenched behind her back. Her eyes met his for a split second. Then he crawled into the vent. Alone, he pressed himself against the cold metal. The memory card dug into his palm, her sacrifice sealed in plastic. Then his phone buzzed. Isao's name glowed on the cracked screen. Sector 9 warehouse. Bring all copies. Any tricks, and Naomi dies tonight.
I can't give them up. But if I don't, she's dead. There has to be another way. Father died for this truth. She chose this fight. But I never meant for anyone to die for me.
He held the files that could shatter the core or bury Naomi forever. The weight of both crushed him. The ultimatum hung over him like a blade. His choice would decide everything, and he only had hours. He copied the files onto a hidden drive and set a dead man switch. If he failed to check in, the data would flood the press.
Isao thinks I'll hand over everything. He doesn't know I've already won if I die.
At the warehouse, Kazuki faced Isao, a doctored folder in hand. Naomi stood chained behind the commander.
Open it. If this is a trick, she bleeds.
He passed the folder, but Isao barely glanced. With a cold smirk, soldiers seized Kazuki's arms.
You promised a trade.
As they dragged him away, his thumb pressed the failsafe trigger hidden in his sleeve.
24 hours. If I don't cancel it, the world sees everything.
Isao congratulated himself on a clean capture. He didn't know the truth was already escaping. In a dark cell, the countdown began. The next sunrise would decide everything. In his cell, Kazuki reached the hidden communicator sewn into his collar and activated the failsafe.
It's done. The truth is a bullet they can't stop now.
The encrypted burst reached a dozen journalists. Snippets of the conversion program flooded their inboxes. By noon, a breaking news alert. Secret core program. Human experimentation. Scrolled across every screen. Isao's crisp composure shattered. He stared at the broadcast, veins bulging.
Find the full files. Use whatever means on the woman now.
In the basement, Naomi's interrogation turned brutal, but she knew nothing of the backup. Kazuki heard distant screams through the vents. His nails dug into his palms.
Hold on, Naomi. The world is already watching.
Isao realized too late. The leak was a warning shot. The real storm was still gathering. The leaked snippet ignited a media firestorm. Government officials summoned Commander Isao, demanding containment.
Release them. They'll talk. Stall them. Blame bureaucracy. We need time.
But the higher-ups, fearing public outrage, demanded the prisoners' release. Isao temporized, citing security risks. In his cell, Kazuki's fingers found a loose panel, a forgotten maintenance port, a crack in the core's digital armor.
This is it. One last gamble. If they catch me now, it's over.
He uploaded the full archive, the forged confession, the conversion files, everything, in one unstoppable torrent. The truth detonated across every screen. Core cover-up, Masaru innocent, Titans made from soldiers, protests erupted outside Core headquarters. Thousands demanded an end to the cover-up. Isao watched in his office, the blood draining from his face. He had lost, but in the prison depths, boots echoed closer. Retribution was coming for him, but the boots were not executioners. The cell door flung open. A pale guard waved them through the chaos. Naomi, limping and bruised, was pulled from her neighboring cell. Her gaze met Kazuki's. No words needed.
Naomi, you are alive. The truth is tearing the core apart. They're freeing us.
The core is finally seeing what we fought to reveal. But Isao still has his claws in some.
Commander Isao barricaded himself in his office, issuing desperate denials. But every screen showed the truth. Outside, a sea of protesters surged against the gates. Soldiers on the walls stood frozen, rifles lowered. Inside the barracks, veterans who had lost family stared at the evidence. The massacre was a setup. Masaru was innocent. Angry shouts turned to open defiance. A captain threw down his insignia. The chain of command was snapping. Kazuki and Naomi walked through corridors no longer hostile. Guards parted, some even nodding. The headquarters shook with internal chaos. Isao's grip was slipping, but he still had loyalists in the shadows. He slipped away from the chaos to the remote cemetery, the forgotten grave of a traitor who was never one.
15 years. And finally, I can tell you the truth. You are not a traitor. The whole world knows now. You were murdered for telling the truth. I never knew you. But I carried your shame. Today, I carry your honor.
He tucked a sealed envelope under a stone, evidence of Isao's crimes for the authorities. The final piece.
Kazuki, I knew you'd come here. Go. I'll stay. Rebuild the core from the ashes. Make sure no one forgets what your father did.
Thank you, Naomi, for believing when no one else would.
He walked away as the sun broke over the hill. A fugitive still, but no longer a son of shame.
Neither traitor nor saint. Just a man who told the truth. Rest now, Father.
The sealed envelope brought military police to Isao's door. He was arrested in his own command.
I built this core. You owe me everything.
An official broadcast announced the termination of Project Chimera. The laboratories were shuttered. The headline ran worldwide. Masaru exonerated, hero of the truth. From a busy street, a disguised Kazuki watched the giant screen. A faint, weary smile touched his lips. The protests turned to somber memorials. Thousands lit candles for the fallen of the staged expedition. At the cemetery, workers replaced the old marker with a polished headstone. Colonel Masaru, hero of the truth.
Rest easy, Father. They see you now. Not a traitor, just a man who told the truth.
He turned from the city lights, a shadow among shadows. The hunt would never end, but he had won. The truth was out, and no power could bury it again. The new memorial stood on a hill, clean and white, carved with the words the world had denied him.
It's done. They know. The traitor is gone. Only the man remains. I can't stay. The shadow still follows me, but for the first time, I am not running from shame, just for my life. The truth cost everything, but it was worth it. You are worth it.
He placed a single chrysanthemum on the stone, his father's favorite. Then he stood, looking not back, but forward. He walked away into the morning, his shadow long but his heart light. A hunted man, but no longer a hollow one. He had no destination, only a name that no longer meant dishonor.
They'll keep chasing, but I have something they'll never break. The truth is free.
Behind him, the memorial stood like a sentinel, a beacon of a debt finally paid. The future was uncertain, but the past was no longer a chain. He could walk with his father's name and not bow. In the rebuilt core headquarters, Naomi faced the world's cameras, her scar a quiet testament.
Colonel Masaru was not a traitor. He was the first to fight the real enemy. The core will be rebuilt on his truth.
A bronze statue of Masaru was unveiled on the hill, head high, facing the sun. Among the crowd, a former cadet, Tanaka, stood hollow-eyed, the weight of years of misplaced hatred finally breaking. Kazuki watched the ceremony on a flickering screen from a train station, a ghost among strangers. In a far city, a man named Sato, quiet, unremarkable, stepped into the evening crowd. He had no urgency in his stride. The hunt would continue, but the hunted had already won. His father's name was spoken in honor, and somewhere, a son could finally breathe. He was not a traitor or a saint, just a man who told the truth. And the world, for all its shadows, would never forget. Years passed. The hill remained, and the grave became a place where silence spoke louder than any parade. The headstone was always clean, polished by caretakers who never knew the sun, only the father's vindicated name. Fresh chrysanthemums lay at its base, their dew catching the first light. Someone always came, even if unseen. Below, the city stirred, unaware of a lone figure who made the pilgrimage in the dark hours, then vanished. The truth had aged into certainty. No one questioned the name Masaru anymore. And somewhere, a hunted man still walked free. Not because he was not seen, but because he was not seen. But because he had already given everything. Many graves are forgotten. This one would never be. Hero of the truth. The words were not just carved in stone, they were etched into a generation. The camera lingers on the chrysanthemums, then on the endless sky. No voice, just peace. And the world, finally, was quiet. The sun broke over the memorial hill, painting the polished stone in gold, and the fresh chrysanthemums in glittering dew. A lone figure crested the rise, pausing where the winding path met the endless sky. A traveler, or perhaps a ghost, returning once more. For a long moment, he looked toward the grave, a silent farewell, then turned and began to walk toward the brightening horizon. His silhouette melted into the dawn, a shape too ordinary to be hunted, too free to be caged, and yet forever marked by the journey. The headstone caught the first light, and the words were clear and unyielding: Colonel Masaru, hero of the truth. No one stood to mourn, for mourning had long since turned to quiet remembrance, woven into the fabric of the core he helped save. Some graves stay buried, but truth never dies, and the hill stood silent, as it always would.